right, good evening. City of Clear Lake Shores City Council regular meeting, March 7th, 2023 at 6:32. Call to order. We have everybody present. Item number 2, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Texas flag. All right, good evening, everybody. Item number 3, reports from council. Councilman Steve Wirtus.
I have nothing to report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wirtus. Councilman Rick Fisher.
There's been several different meetings for Parks and Pool over the last week or two here. Unfortunately, I've been out of town for every one of them, so I'm not going to steal Chris's thunder. I'm going to let her give you guys the update a little bit later in the meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fisher. Councilwoman Monica Leday.
The ARC Pets had adoptions this past weekend at reduced rate for 6-month and older dogs. They moved a lot of them. I encourage everybody to look on their Facebook page, friend it, follow it, so you guys can be involved in all of the activities that they have going on.
All right, thank you, Ms. Leday. Councilman Alex Scanlon.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Scanlon. And Mayor Pro Tem Randy Chronister.
No report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chronister. Just a couple items from me. This is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so beware of that dreaded word, hurricane season coming up. I think in June it starts, but they have several things out there. Take a look at NOAA.gov, and they've got a lot of helpful hints on all different types of storms and how they affect different areas. Also, Daniel Drawer Avenue is open, yay. And so with that, Darrell Apfel was a big proponent with that. It was passed through the Galveston County 2017 bond, thanks to the EDC for the $300,000 in establishing the ROW, and all the CLS past and present council members getting that through. It was 100% funded by Galveston County, and they've got a few more items to clean up with the road to get it all finished and getting the street signs on that, but that should be a big help to alleviate traffic in the area. Next is item 4, staff reports. Police Department Interim Chief David Donaldson. Just hit it once.
Thank you. Couldn't see it.
You're not used to that microphone, are you?
No, I'm not. Mayor, Council, we conducted for the February 88 traffic contacts, 1 DWI, 3 narcotic-related offenses, 2 accidents, 1 fraud, 1 assault, 5 theft, and 7 arrests were made with warrants, including warrants, 7 assist other agency, and 17 residential checks, and 319 business checks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Donaldson. Next is City Administrator Brad Gowdy.
Mayor, evening, citizens, good evening. First, let me apologize for the delay getting the city administrator's report to you yesterday. We're working on a little bit different format to kind of make it beneficial for you, and that wasn't worked out last Friday. It is worked out now, so you should start seeing those in your weekly packet. The format that I sent to you is what I'm looking to move in a direction that once we've got the content and the level of quality there, I would like to start rolling this out to our citizens, kind of open up the visibility of what's going on within the city. Before I jump off into my report, I'd like to take a minute. One of the things I like to do is celebrate the job that our outstanding employees are doing. Between now and next council meeting, we do have a couple special days. If you'll join me on March 12th is Angie Galvin's birthday. I'm sure she's probably turned 21 now. Also on 3/18 is Selena's 4-year anniversary, so we're excited for the progress that they're making there. In regards to my report, one of the great things that come back to the city is the selling art has been restored. I'd like to thank Mayor for initiating that and Frank Tamburello for doing the resurfacing and the reconditioning, and it really looks great, so take a look at that at the main bridge. Mayor mentioned Daniel Drawer Avenue. One of the things, alternate transportation, we just got done talking about it in the workshop, but for the benefit of the citizens, I'd like to share that we're currently looking at a TxDOT grant opportunity for where you've got sidewalks that are going to be installed along 2094 on the south side of the road and on the north side as well. This is going to be a joint project between League City, Clear Lake Shores, and the city of Kemah. We're kind of working on combining that project and moving it forward. Another project under that alternate transportation is the pedestrian bridge that's going to be up here on the main traffic bridge. So kind of excited to see about that coming about. Again, I'm not going to steal the thunder and the lightning from the Parks and Pool. They have gotten access system that they've found that's going to work pretty good, so I'm going to leave that to them to kind of bring forward here shortly. Parking, we haven't talked about it in the workshop, the pro paint and building, paint and body. I've recently filed an 811 that they're going to come out and get it marked. We're working with CenterPoint to get the gas secured. That line, the electricity has been secured. I am currently waiting on 2 contractors to provide me with quotes to find the most feasible option to demo that building. We're being told that it can be done in probably about 4 days. So once we get moving on that, that'll happen pretty quick. And be kind of, once that's done, we'll look at moving that platform back over to the brewery to free up that some parking spots. Finally, our community assistance visit. We had a call with FEMA last week. We were reassured by email that we are in good standing for the city. However, there has been some developments that come down from the directors down to the person that's doing it. It's going to kind of expand that and delay finalizing that a little bit. Looking probably into it a little bit more in depth. Mayor, I believe that this time that's all I've got.
Quick question. What is the speed limit going to be along Daniel Dror Avenue? Any idea?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to punt that off to somebody else in the room. I do not know that answer.
It should be on the drawing, but I remember it's set to 35.
And it also, just to kind of he did mention that it's open back up, but there are a few things like striping and some markers that have got to be put in place, and that is hopefully to be done by the end of this week.
So 35 mile per hour, no problem with golf carts going down that road then? Right, okay.
And I don't remember, Chief, do you remember what Hanston Road is right now? 30? So that's something maybe we need to get with Galveston County and see if they set that at 30 or 35. Should probably be the same. All right, thank you. All right, item number 5, public comments. At this time, any person with city-related business may speak to the City Council. If the topic of discussion is related to an item on the agenda, the comments may be made now or at the time of the agenda item is discussed. If the topic of discussion is not related to an item on the agenda, the City Council cannot deliberate or take any action at this time. Comments from the public should be held limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. Anybody? Can you state your name and your address, please?
Hello, microphone check. Okay. I just wanted to get, Jesse Young, 920 Grove. I wanted to get an update on 515 Clear Lake Road. I just sent an open records request in. Basically, they had a family reunion over there again this weekend. Seems to be happening more often, I'm assuming, because it's spring break. But I wanted to read to you some correspondence I have with former building inspector Kevin Harrell. Him and I had a phone conversation concerning 515 Clear Lake Road about mid-year last year. And I was questioning it because what I observed there was a complete gut and remodel. And I didn't see a permit posted anywhere. So I did an open records request asking to see the permit. I was met with, they didn't need a permit. And I was, of course, confused. And he told me that the reason they didn't need a permit was they were making no structural changes. So, in my world, structural can mean a lot of different things. Maybe in the residential world, it actually means a new structure. just as an example, City of Houston, a structural permit can mean moving a wall that's more or less modular. You would still need to get a permit to move that wall. Even though it's not structure of a building, it's still structural. Regardless of that, they had a garage that they converted. There was a slab in the garage that was depressed, otherwise known as a mud slab. So they poured 4 inches of concrete in the garage, made it level, added mechanical, electrical, and plumbing all in the garage. In the main house, they completely gutted it, moved bathrooms around, moved the kitchen walls around. And I explained all this to Kevin Harrell. He was surprised to hear this because he said he walked the scope with them. So I sent him an email, and I'm probably running out of time, so I'm not going to read the whole email. I'm just going to read his response. I sent him an email kind of rehashing our conversation so that we were all on the same page. His response to me was, Mr. Young, as I said before, what was discussed and what was done clearly violates our ordinance. I'm working to get in contact with the owners of the property. The property owner is listed as an LLC. I cannot cite a company. It has to be an individual. So this got me thinking. So why don't we all put our homes in an LLC? Then we can do whatever we want. Then we wouldn't have people driving around taking pictures of people's fences that just got rebuilt because they got blown down in a storm. And then the next day you get a letter with pictures from someone because you rebuilt your fence saying you're out of compliance. So I'm just curious about an update on 515 Clear Lake Road, and also curious why we can't cite a company. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse, and I recommend Brad, if you can get with Jesse on that. I know that's been a topic in our discussions on 515, and they did reapply, and on latest, I think that they had some things they had to fix, but there's a lot of interest in that.
There were a list of violations noted, and I reached out to them to schedule a re-inspection, reached out to them twice, and no response from them.
All the while they're operating still.
Right, if they're operating, they should be issued a violation.
Sure we document all the days now that they've applied and they're not in compliance, because all those days, I believe, after talking to Christy and Angie, constitutes a different violation.
All right, anybody else? All right, next is consent agenda. Is there any items that need to be pulled? And please note for council, there was a late revision on item C for meeting minutes dated 2/21/23, where 7B was incorrect and updated by Christie. Is there any items that need to be pulled? Having none, is there any objection by council for accepting the consent agenda items A through C? Having none, the consent agenda is accepted. Item 7, new business discussion and action may be taken on the following items. A lot of reading tonight, so y'all have to listen.
Mayor, if I may, is the appropriate time, there's one item under number 7 that I'd like to pull for this evening. Is this a good time for that?
Yes.
7D for the pool membership agreement. We've got some last minute changes to that, and I'd like to pull that from tonight.
7B?
D, David.
D.
Before I do, let's go down a little bit. G, George, I'm sorry.
Okay, 7G. We'll pull 7G. All right. Moving forward, item A, resolution number 2023-04, revised resolution of the City of Clear Lake Shore, Texas, providing that a special election be held on May 6, 2023 for the purpose of a special election for the adoption of state law applicable to police officers that establishes collective bargaining if a majority of the affected employees favor representation by an employees association, preserves the prohibition against strikes and lockouts, and provides penalties for strikes and lockouts, designating the polling place, providing the form of the ballot for such election, directing the giving of notice of such election, and providing for details relating to the holding of such election. This is to account for, we only have 2 council members now running and 1 for mayor, so this is the only item that will be on the election ballot.
A motion to approve resolution 2023-04 revised as written.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Scanlon, second by Mr. Cronister. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. And all for it, so none opposed. Motion passes. Item B, resolution number 2023-08, a resolution of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, providing for the purpose of appointing election officials for the general election to be held May 6th and early voting election period, appointing an election judge, election clerks, and designee from Galveston County Election Division as bilingual election clerk for such elections. And Ms. Christy Strop put all this together, so everything's all set, right?
And I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2023-08.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fisher, second by Ms. Leday. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item C is appoint 1 member of to the Parks and Pool Committee to fill the last vacancy. And I believe Ms. Louise Cooney submitted her name. And so that's the recommendation.
Make a motion to appoint Louise Cooney to the Parks and Pool Committee.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cronister, second by Ms. Leday. And any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Having none, motion passes. Item D, ordinance number 2023-03, an ordinance of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, amending its code of ordinances to amend section 66-136, applicability of Article 5, City Parks, of Chapter 66, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Places, to redefine what areas are subject to the regulations contained in Article 5, city parking, providing a penalty in the amount of not to exceed $2,000 for any violation of this ordinance, with each day constituting a new violation, providing a severability clause and an effective date. This is in preparation of renaming the parkland that surrounds the island as waterfront. And in doing that, the current ordinances spells out the waterfront is parkland, and we are looking to remove that. This removes that, and it only designates the parklands that are existing parks, which it consists of Shell Bottom Park and the fishing pier and Sundial Park. And those changes are in your packet.
Motion to approve ordinance 2023-03.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Scanlon, second by Ms. Leday. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. A lot of work and effort went into that. Thank y'all for working with that.
Hey, Kurt, is it something that we wanna, or we could do an announcement on some of the socials to explain what that means? 'Cause I'm sure that's gonna be a highly misunderstood topic if we don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Brad, can you put something together with Teresa? Pass. A past task is a completed task. Item E is to approve the 10-year waterfront lease agreement to expire July 31st of 2033. And that, we've had 3 or 4 workshops on. It's all in the packet of the changes, mainly to not call it a park and make it a waterfront. And that's throughout the document. I'll go through the changes. It's not too bad, I think. But I can't read, it's very small text. The next one addresses liveaboards. It gets into some details of that. We changed the dates, of course, to be, to 23 to 33. And then, what are the other changes? The construction, we changed that in item 8 to allow 12 months of its commencement to get the items completed. More date changes. And then in Exhibit B, did I miss Exhibit A already? Oops. Huh? So it's Exhibit B then, okay. Exhibit B is, note any items not specifically allowed by paragraphs A through M below are not allowed on the premises at any, on any lease. Clarification there, and then item A gets into liveaboards. Before, you know, you weren't allowed to spend the night on there, and it's being changed to allow up to three nights consecutive and not more than 6 nights total for the month. And that's went through the water board and council. No self-work, correction there. I think that almost wraps it up. Oh, the other big item is dock boxes. They used to have to come to council for approval, so they actually set the size of a dock box no more than 6 feet wide by 2.5 feet high and 2.5 feet deep upon any piers or docks located within the adjacent public water, so long as said item are secured to withstand displacement from wind and rising water. And then we removed item I that addressed the height of the piers. And I think that's about it. And then you're allowed the horizontal members, strength members, structural members for the lifts, providing they're perpendicular to the street. And they also raised the top elevation bulkhead shall be at least, it was 1 foot to 2 foot. So that'll help down in the future for future flooding by a foot. We're starting to get like New Orleans. Just by land standpoint. What else is there? It addresses boat lifts if horizontal beams are permitted. And lighting is allowed up to 100 watts, but they need to be dark sky approved and not over a total of 100 watts. And the waterfront committee is the one that looks into all that stuff and lets our building department know where there's issues. And then Exhibit D, again, just cleans up some wording with the definitions for boat lifts and building lot, and we also tied it to other applicable requirements per U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, General Land Office, GLO, and School Land Board. So I don't know if anybody knows that the actual Clear Lake falls underneath the School Land Board of Texas Administrative Code, and we tied that into that here. One of the things is that I looked into years ago is if you have like a boat pier within 10 feet of your lease, you're allowed to use that pier. They are not privately owned. And that's per the Land Act. So that's it in the nutshell. No.
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve the 10-year waterfront lease agreement to expire July 31st, 2033.
A second.
Motion by Mr. Fisher, second by Ms. Leday. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? Nay. Motion passes.
And just
Item-
thanks to everybody on the waterfront committee. I know we started working on that last year in March, so there's been a lot of work put into that, so thank you guys for, putting that all together.
Item F, and by the way, those will be going out, so don't forget to sign up for your leases or you could lose your lease. Right, Christie?
We have to have the
Signed
agreement
lease,
back.
yep. Alright, item F is approved pool entry system, recommendation from Parks and Pool Committee, option 2. And then Brad, you got this one.
And Mayor, Parks and Pool has put a lot of work into this, and if it please, I'd like to bring up a representative from their committee to present their findings. No storming the stage.
Okay, Mary Cooney, 930 Elm. First off, does anybody have any questions regarding the packets that you received? Any clarification? Okay, so it's, I think bid number 2 in your packet, it's Agent Security. And that's the one that will include the least amount of products that are going to have to be installed within the city. So in the actual office itself, there will not have to be anything done, no wiring work, nothing installed there. Their system works essentially, if you can imagine, with the cloud. It's a software base, so anyone in the office will be able to access it from any computer. So technically even from your own cell phones if you need it. So within the city staff, you'll have your own login that will be used, and the staff will be able to determine actual parameters for times of day that the pool's open for all the actual key fobs. So for instance, maintenance is on Mondays, so now the actual pool fobs will not be active at all, any of them on Mondays. So you wouldn't have to worry, Jorge and Odie don't have to physically go lock the gate anymore because no one could get in there.
Can we make sure we cover the holidays though?
Yes. So that would have to be something that would be a manual operation that you could go in and plug in certain holidays that fall on Mondays throughout the year so that it's still operable. It will also have time restraints. So when our pool closes, for instance, midnight, it's shut down. You don't have to worry about anybody accidentally, well, not accidentally, deliberately going in after hours to swim. And as far as the actual pool goes, they have their own built-in router system. It's a 4G LTE outdoor cellular router. It'll be mounted on the gate, very similar to the current box that's, if you've noticed, any of you that go to the pool, it's on the inside of the gate, and it's down towards the bottom. It's a simple box, about 12 by 12 inches. Something similar in that size, and that's what will be mounted in the cellular router. Will be installed in that. And so that is what the $65 a month subscription fee is for. That is what's going to cover the cloud service. You could imagine if you're paying a monthly bill for your cell phone to AT&T or T-Mobile. They have everything in-house, though, with their security. So some of the other bids we were going to have to outsource and actually have a dedicated line to T-Mobile or AT&T. With this, we don't. Everything's in-house with this company. Think of anything else that I can...
You said it was a $65 a month subscription. That's just what the city pays, or is that per member?
Oh, no, yes, that's the city cost.
Okay.
Yes, that's not per member. So as far as reflecting on the members, it won't affect anything in the actual agreement as far as raising membership dues. Everyone will be issued a key fob similar actually similar in size to what is currently given that were on those wristbands. It'll have a hole in it. You can attach it to your car keys or whatever you want to use, and that will be the actual fob that's scanned at the door. So no more codes will have to be issued and potentially shared amongst other people.
Is it a key fob per person or per family?
So we decided we thought it would be best to do per family, so everyone is issued one free of charge. And then if you do have a family, you could purchase an extra one for $25. So that $25 would carry you through the year. If you still have that fob next year and renew, you don't have to pay the $25. You can keep using that fob for as many years as you want. Each fob has a serial number, and that's what's tied to the actual membership. So in the office, if someone was violating the pool and the agreement that they have signed, as simple as even if it's after hours, if the chief has the login, he could log in and deactivate that person immediately. So there's it's a lot more, there's just a lot of benefits to it to kind of, I think, help with security, which we've had in the past issues with a lot of people coming in after hours, when it's closed, and also bringing in multiple people that are not on their membership, or the people come in when the actual member's not even present, because they simply just share their codes, they text it to someone, they yell it over the fence, you know. So this is going to hopefully cut down on a lot of that, because they'll have to have the actual fob in hand to swipe at the door. So they have to come with the member and use their gas passes.
In the event, after hours, heaven forbid, there was an emergency or something, how would emergency personnel gain access?
Do you want to take that?
So I have spoke with Gulf Coast Aquatics, and they have got, it's basically kind of like a realtor box that they put on the gate. And rather than having to give all the lifeguards one, they would have a fob in there. They've also granted us access that we could provide that code to emergency services, PD, fire, whoever it is, and they would open it up and have that key fob to gain access. Same for your pool maintenance people, Jorge and Odie, any of those, if they need access, they've got that there available. And if I could, while I've got the mic, I'd like to propose, if you guys would make an amendment. What was submitted for you on the agreement includes the 250 key fobs. My recommendation is add another $500 onto that bid that would give us 100 key fobs to have in inventory. So if people lose them and they come in to buy them, we've got them there in stock. Because I talked with Christy, and currently last year's membership we had 223. So you can see our inventory is going to get eaten up real quick, and so I think that was $7,400 and some dollars, and I'm requesting if somebody would make an amendment to round that up to the 79. You have that?
Yes, $7,998.
And for everybody's interest, the budget did have $10,000 approved for this project, so we are well under budget for what was set.
And with that amendment, how many fobs does that give us total?
That will give us 350.
Need a motion?
All right, I make a motion that we approve the pool entry system, control system quote number 2 with the additional $500 for a total of $7,998.47 for a total of 350 fobs.
I second it.
Motion by Mr. Fisher, second by Ms. Day for the approving of the key fob number 2 at a cost of $7,998. Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay? Having none, motion passes. Thank you.
We've been working on this for several years, and time was of the essence here because we wanted this done for this pool season. And I want to thank Brad for his timely, getting this through timely, really pursued it quickly, and we really appreciate that because we were on a short time frame, and for Christie, that we need to order the pool tags and so on and so forth, so thank you very much.
Also, thank you, you guys on the Parks and Pool Committee. I know you had to do a couple of special meetings to get all of this done in time, so.
thanks to the Parks and Pool for putting that through. All right, item G's being tabled. Item H, can't see. Approve revised fee schedule for fiscal year 23. Mr. Brad.
Mayor and council, again, this is one of those that could be considered for an amendment. This was originally submitted to you, changing the replacement key fob fee from $10 to $25. The $25 does cover the cost of the key fob as well as staff's time. The other thing that came up in last night's meeting that the committee would like for you to consider is changing the non-resident family fee from $275 to $325.
A motion? H.
I make a motion to approve the revised fee schedule for fiscal year 2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Ledez, second by Mr. Fisher. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I may, before we vote on it, as it is proposed, that's without that $325 increase. Would need an amendment for that $325 if you so desire.
I make a motion to amend my motion to increase the non-resident fee to $325.
Thank you.
And I'll still second it.
All right, amended motion to approve the fee schedule with the 15 to 25, and then the amended motion for 275 to 325 for non-resident membership. Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item I is approved renewal of the Crowder Golf Disaster Recovery and Debris Management Contract. Mr. Brad.
I don't know if my popularity rating's going up or going down tonight, but I seem to be popular, huh? So in 2019, the city approved a contract with Crowder Golf for disaster debris removal. This was at that time a 3-year contract with 2 1-year option renewals. This did actually expire in May of last year in 22. What we're coming for you tonight is a 1-year renewal, which will carry us into 24 and get us through this season. And then next year we've got the option of either going back for 1 more before we go back out to bid, or we could go out to bid at that time if we chose. And this is strictly for debris removal, not monitoring. We'll be probably coming back with True North contract here in the near future for monitoring.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal of Crowder Golf Disaster Recovery and Debris Removal Management Contract for 1 more year.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fisher, second by Ms. Ledez. Any further discussion?
So, have you actually talked to them, Brad, since you've come on board?
Just through written communications, nothing, no verbal.
The reason I ask is I remember Brent, when Brent was here, we didn't use Crowder Golf to clean up after Nicholas. We used, one of the smaller companies, and he cited the fact that they had some new trucks and whatnot, and they couldn't service us anymore. So that's what I had in my notes. That's why we didn't use them. So I don't know if they can service us. I'd like for you to contact them and make sure they can still service us.
I can, and I'll tell you the reason I brought it forward tonight is in the essence of time, and I threw out the qualifications that next year if we wanted to go back out. My personal experience is that when they got activated, they had been relocated and out of the state and weren't available to service us as well. So I do have some concerns going that route. If council desires, we can slow things down. My concerns with everything going on right now, my availability, something's going to have to take back burner.
Yeah, and do you have a cost for this? I didn't see a cost on here.
So there is no ongoing cost. It's just if they're activated and dependent on the resources utilized, it would carry the different costs.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? Nay? Having none, motion passes. Item 8 is adjournment at 19:20.